Hey everyone! Thanks for joining our tutorial, Getting Started with Mailchimp, How to Import and Organize Contacts. My name's Kayla, and along with my teammate Nicole, we'll be your host for today.
Hi, everyone. During this era of social distancing, we know how important it is for businesses to have a digital presence to connect with their customers. Everyone at Mailchimp is currently working from home, Kayla and I included, so just a heads up, you might hear a dog barking or some ambient noise. We appreciate your understanding and patience while we do our best to figure this new work setup out. Let's take a look at the path of our learning journey. We'll come back to this slide periodically throughout our session to check in on our progress and see what's coming up next in the tutorial.
We're going to start today by reviewing a few slides to familiarize you with foundational concepts, as well as what you need to know before setting up your audience within Mailchimp. Then we'll go into our account where we'll walk you through how to create an audience and then import contacts to it.
Then we'll cover the basics of how to organize your contacts in Mailchimp, including ways to remove contacts from your audience when needed. We'll cover the differences between archiving and deleting contacts before we wrap up the tutorial with an overview of the audience dashboard. If you're in need of technical assistance at any time, we recommend navigating to our website at mailchimp.com/help. There, you'll find our knowledge base full of guides and tutorials. It's a free help center for all customers to access.
All right, with all of that said, let's go ahead and get started on our learning journey with those key audience concepts to know.
Your marketing will generate the best return on investment, or ROI, when you take the time to build and maintain a healthy audience. Up-to-date information about the contacts in your audience is one of the foundations of great marketing. Mailchimp has built-in tools to help you along the way. With the right data and organization, you can be sure to send the right messages to the right people. When considering your audience, just take a moment to think about your marketing goals, who your contacts are, and what information is relevant to them.
You'll want to consider what variables affect your audience. For example, if you have an e-commerce store, do you have seasonal only customers, bargain hunters, or customers who are only interested in certain types of merchandise, services, or events? Or are you an organization that needs to send different content to donors, sponsors, members, or other patrons? Or does it matter if your contacts are local, domestic, or international?
The more you can think about what information you need from your audience up front, the easier it'll be for you to market to them in the future. So let's take a moment to recap some key terms. You might already be familiar with them, but for those of you who are new to this topic, let's review. When we say audience, we mean a place for you to collect and manage your contacts in Mailchimp. And a contact is someone whose email is stored in your audience. So you might be wondering, how do you get contacts into your Mailchimp audience? We're going to highlight the three main ways to do this.
First, you can bring contacts manually into your audience using our import process, which we'll show you in our own account in just a bit. For example, you could import a list of contact information that you collected from a trade show.
The second option is to collect contacts via a sign-up form. In Mailchimp, you can create and share a sign-up form, and people can sign up to receive updates from you. You'll often see sign-up forms on a website, but you can also share them to attract new subscribers on social or through any other channels. And we're not going to cover sign-up forms in much detail today, but for now, keep in mind they're a great way to add new contacts to your Mailchimp audience.
And the last way to bring contacts into your audience is through third-party integrations or the Mailchimp API. Now, you may have a sign-up form that you already use for your website that wasn't built within Mailchimp. You can connect that sign-up form to Mailchimp through our available integrations. So when a new contact signs up through that form, they're automatically added to your audience. If you're looking for the right integration to allow you to move your contacts into Mailchimp, we'd recommend that you go to our integrations directory at mailchimp.com/integrations. Once there, you can search for specific integrations or filter by integration type.
When you bring your contacts into Mailchimp, their email marketing status determines what kind of content you can share with them. So next, let's cover these different statuses.
Statuses for contacts can include subscribed, unsubscribed, non-subscribed, cleaned, and archived. Let's go ahead and break each of these down. In Mailchimp, in order to send email marketing to a contact, they need to have given express verifiable consent to be marketed to, and therefore they would be subscribed. A subscribed contact has opted in to receive marketing, while an unsubscribed contact has opted out of receiving marketing. A contact who has interacted with your business but hasn't opted in to receive marketing yet is called non-subscribed. For example, they may have purchased something from your store, but they didn't sign up for your newsletter. Bounces can be the result of a full email inbox or wrong email address. Email addresses that have hard bounced or repeatedly soft bounced are considered cleaned within Mailchimp. And the last type here, archive contacts, are ones removed from your audience. These could be people who haven't interacted with your emails in a long time. Archive contacts don't count towards your billing, but their data is retained in your account. Instead of deleting them, you may want to keep these contacts archived in order to see an overview of their data at a later time. We'll cover the differences between archiving and deleting a little bit more in detail towards the end of the session.
Now you might be wondering what these statuses mean in terms of sending campaigns. When it comes to email marketing, you're only able to email subscribed contacts in your audience. But for other marketing channels like ads or postcards, you can reach contacts who have unsubscribed or are non-subscribed within your audience. We've talked through foundational audience concepts and different contact statuses. So now let's head into our Mailchimp account and go through the process of creating an audience together. When you create a new account, Mailchimp will use basic information you provide to create your audience so you can start adding contacts to it right away. As a best practice, we recommend using one master audience to organize your contacts rather than multiple audiences.
However, you may need to create additional audiences, so we'll walk through the basics and the setup process for that. Keep in mind, the number of audiences you can store in your account depends on the plan that you're on. For example, our standard plan allows you to create up to 5 audiences. Let's go ahead and create a sample audience together now. When you log into your account, you'll be brought straight to your audience dashboard here.
Under the Current Audiences dropdown, at the far left, click View Audiences. This shows us all of our audiences in one place. And as you can see, we've got 2 audiences here.
From here, let's go ahead and click on Create Audience up here in the top right. Our system will prompt you to choose to use tags to organize one audience as opposed to creating a new audience. But for now, we'll just go ahead and choose Create Audience right here. You're now going to see a variety of details that we'll need to add in about this new audience.
So first up, your audience name will be internal to your Mailchimp account. So name it something that'll help you identify it. In our case, we're calling this Wholesale Audience. Each time you send a campaign from this audience, we'll pull in the default email address and name that you list right here. Let's put webinars@mailchimp.com as our default email and Freddie@Mailchimp as our default from name. Up next, you're going to want to remind people how they signed up for your audience. So this should be a short but descriptive statement, something like you signed up via our website.
Below that, you'll also need to add in your store's physical mailing address to help be compliant with CAN spam laws.
CAN spam is an important federal act that regulates commercial marketing messages. There are a few main requirements to be aware of, including telling email recipients where your business is located, as well as making sure to provide an opt-out link somewhere in your email message. Don't worry, we'll make sure that all of your messages are CAN spam compliant. Mailchimp automatically populates an unsubscribe link as well as your business address in the footer of each email that you send.
Next up here, under Form Settings, you can enable double opt-in right here. We have two types of opt-in methods to choose from based on your preferred sign-up process. There's single or there's double opt-in. Below these opt-in methods, there's an option to check a box to enable GDPR fields. If you interact with users that live in the European Union, we'd encourage you to enable this box in order to collect the proper information necessary on these contacts to help you be GDPR compliant. Now, we'll just go ahead and hit save at the bottom of the page to save our new audience. And with that done, we'll be back on our new audience overview page right here.
In the future, you might want to change some of the defaults you set while creating your audience. To get back here, select Settings from this menu of options, and then click into Audience Name and Defaults. We're good to go with the information we just set for our audience, so let's continue on. So from this drop-down under Settings, you're also going to see a section for audience fields and merge tags. Let's go ahead and click in. Audience fields are where you keep information on your contacts. And they're a lot like cells in a spreadsheet. They store email addresses, names, birthdays, and other information. You can edit those fields here or through our form builder, where you ask new subscribers to input their information when signing up for your audience. You'll be able to see this information in a couple of different places. You'll see it in your audience's contact table and on individual contacts' profile pages.
As a quick side note, we also refer to audience fields as merge fields. When you're setting up an email campaign, you can use a merge tag to automatically pull in information from your audience that's unique to each contact. It will then populate in a personalized way to every contact when they receive your email.
So for example, you can say hi and then insert the merge tag fname, and we'll populate the contact's first name for you. So for example, hi Freddie would show to a contact named Freddie.
Or in our cases, hi Nicole or hi Kayla would show instead. And this is just a nice way to make an email feel more personal and relevant to the person receiving it.
So here you can see we have our email address field and first and last name fields, along with a couple of other fields by default. On this page, we can add more audience fields or remove some to help us customize what shows up on our sign-up forms and in our audience. For example, we'll remove this phone number field here by selecting the trash can icon and then typing in delete to confirm. Next to each field, you'll see the option to make the field visible or required. If a field is visible, it'll show up on your sign-up form. Required means someone filling out your form won't be able to submit the form without inputting that information.
You can think of it this way. This page is where you will set fields to personalize the information that you wish to collect about your contacts. For example, do you want to collect birth dates? If so, you can do that here. And this way you could send your contacts discounts when their birthdays come up. And to do this, you would just select add a field right here. And then you can select the birthday field option here. Now, once the page loads, you'll just want to select your date format and name your field. So let's give this a moment. So confirm your date format, and then we'll call our field birthday. And now we can include this field on our sign-up forms going forward.
Create as many or as few audience fields as you'd like to help you collect the information you want about your contacts. And let's save these changes now. We're going to go back into our slides to take another look at our learning journey. Now that we've created an audience, we're going to cover the steps to import contacts you already have into that audience. So in order to do that, we're going to get back into our account. And here we are back in our Mailchimp account. You can import contacts into your audience one by one or in bulk, so let's break down both methods. First, importing contacts individually. To do this, we'll select Add Contacts and then Add a Subscriber from the drop-down menu. This will take you to a new page where you'll enter your new subscriber's information. An email address is required, but you can also add in other relevant information which matches the fields you've set up. For example, first name and address, like you see here.
Note that here towards the bottom of the page, you'll have the option to apply a tag to the contact. Tags are a tool to help you organize contacts in your audience, and we'll come back to these in just a little bit. Remember, you'll also want to make sure your contacts have given the proper permission to be added to your audience. You can mark that they've granted this permission by checking this box right here at the bottom of the page. Now, next, to add multiple subscribers at once, we'll want to scroll back up, and from that same Add Contacts drop-down menu, this time we'll select Import Contacts. Here, you can upload a CSV of contacts, copy and paste from an outside file, or import contacts from one of our integrated service partners.
We're going to upload a CSV file as this is one of the most common methods. A CSV file is a common type of spreadsheet you can make with Microsoft Excel, Google Sheets, or Apple Numbers.
If you've never set up a CSV file, or you have some questions about formatting them, we have great resources in our guides and tutorials, also known as our knowledge base, to help you get more comfortable with the process, and we would encourage you to check those out.
So the file import has two parts. First, you'll prepare your spreadsheet of contacts outside of Mailchimp and save it as a CSV. And next, you'll use our import tool to add your contacts to Mailchimp. Once the file is all set to import, you'll select CSV file here and then continue in the bottom right-hand corner.
Now let's upload our file. From here, we're going to select Browse right here, and then we'll just choose the right file from our computer. Once the file is selected, you'll want to select Continue to Match at the bottom right. And this will take us to the next step. This is where we'll match the columns in our import file with those selected in our audience. Mailchimp will automatically match some columns in your import file. For example, the column in the CSV that contains email addresses will match to the required email address field in your audience. You can see that we're also importing birthday information seen right here. So this will match with the birthday field that we just set up. If these fields aren't what you want, you can simply select Edit right here and just choose another field name that you've set up or create a brand new one. Creating a new field is useful if you're importing new information for the first time or you haven't set up a field yet for it.
When importing information to your audience, you'll want to think about what's useful for you to know about your audience. Remember, you can use the information that's been imported later to segment your audience for specific contacts and information. We're going to make sure we match or skip all of these columns to complete our import. If you choose to skip a field, it'll not be imported into your audience. Once everything is all set, click on Continue to Organize in the lower right-hand corner.
Now, on the final page of the import process, you'll see the option here to create or add a tag. For example, say that all of these contacts in this import have something in common and we want to tag them with that information. We could do so right here. In our case, all of these wholesale contacts are also some of our best customers. So let's go ahead and just create this tag right now. Call it Best Customers, and then we'll add it. You'll also have the ability to choose a status for these contacts right here. These are the email marketing statuses we covered earlier, like subscribed, unsubscribed, or cleaned. For example, maybe you have a group of previous contacts that should always be unsubscribed from your audience. This is an easy way to make sure they're easily unsubscribed. This type of action is commonly known as a suppression list. It allows you to keep contact information in your audience, but ensures you're not sending this group of people any emails. If you're working with an existing audience, you'll also see an option here on this page to update your existing contacts. Now, if you check this box, contacts who are already in your audience will update with the new information from that import. Just as a note, because this is a brand new audience without any contacts, you won't see that checkbox right here.
Continue to review at the bottom right will take us to the next page where we can confirm our settings. You'll see green check marks if each step of the import is good to go. And now just click Import. So we just imported, and these contacts are now added to your audience, as you can see here. Let's take a moment to show you how to locate this list overview from the audience dashboard. If we click back to Audience up here in the top navigation menu, you'll see we're back on our audience dashboard. To get back to our contact table, we would just select View Contacts so we can see all of our contacts in one place. Next up in our learning journey, we'll show you the basics of how to organize contacts in your audience so you can send better, more targeted campaigns through Mailchimp.
Once you have some contacts in your audience, you might be wondering how you can organize them. For example, you want to send a campaign out to people in your audience who you know attended a trade show. Or perhaps you want to send a campaign just to people who've opened some of your recent campaigns.
Let's start by defining and providing examples for the three main tools you can use to organize your Mailchimp audience: tags, groups, and segments.
First up here, we'll start with tags. Tags are internal labels that you create to help organize your contacts within Mailchimp. You may have encountered tags before if you've used a blogging platform or used the CRM, which is a customer relationship manager. These often include tagging features to categorize people or content. You can select a tag and then see all of the relevant content that's been labeled with that tag.
Tags are customizable, so you can create and assign tags to contacts in a way that works for you. Keep in mind, tags are used to label contacts based on data only you know about them, so contacts won't be able to see how they're tagged. You can use tags in a way that works for you, whether it's creating a full tagging structure to organize all of your contacts, or just using a few tags to identify key contacts in your audience.
No matter your use case, tags give you the flexibility to bring the system that works for you and your business into Mailchimp. Let's go ahead and take a look at a real-world example for tags.
A middle school has tags for their different student activities. Soccer, basketball, and drama are tags, along with 6th, 7th, and 8th grade. This would allow a school administrator to easily send out emails to parents of 7th graders who are in soccer and drama, or to specifically contact students who only do sports.
Or perhaps you run an online store and you'd like to tag your super shoppers who are consistent customers so that you can easily give that group a heads up about new inventory.
Here, we're looking at the profile of an individual subscriber within our audience. As you can see here at the top right, the subscriber has two tags applied to them: top customer and rewards member. Once you create tags and assign them to your contacts, you can send campaigns directly to specific tag contacts in your audience. Additionally, you can also create an automated email, or what we call an automation, which triggers when you add a specific tag to a contact. So, for example, we could go into our audience and send a campaign to everyone who has the tag top customer applied.
Next, let's cover groups. Unlike tags, which are only internal to your account, groups are customer-facing and allow your subscribers to self-select their preferences.
Many Mailchimp customers use groups on their sign-up forms, where subscribers can choose what type of information they'd like to receive or how often they'd like to receive communication. These groups function like categories users can identify with. For example, they can express interest in men's or women's fashion updates, or indicate what city they live in from a list of options, so they can receive updates specific to their location. Here, you can see a group we've set up in our Mailchimp account. We're looking for our subscribers to tell us their experience level with gardening from beginner to advanced. Now on the right, you can see how this group would show in our sign-up form when a new user is subscribing. We're asking for their basic information like email and first name, but they can also tell us their proficiency with gardening while signing up.
Before we move on to segments, let's go ahead and quickly recap the difference between tags and groups. On the left here, we have tags. As we've just covered, tags are internal to Mailchimp, and customers will never see them. They're a really great way for you to organize your account and remember customers by certain characteristics and behaviors that only you would know.
By contrast, groups are customer-facing and allow your customers to self-select their preferences. This would often take place on a sign-up form where customers could choose what type of information they'd like to receive from you or how often. Let's wrap up our audience organizational tools by talking about segments. A segment is a filter that helps you find contacts within your audience with shared characteristics.
When you create a segment, you set conditions to filter contacts based on the information that's available within your audience. Each segment can include up to 5 conditions. Marketers often sort people according to factors like their demographics, their behavior, and where they are in their buyer's journey. What strategy you use to segment your audience depends on the product or service you're delivering.
So Mailchimp offers a lot of segmenting options so you can make the most of your audience. Segmentation is really about who your audience is and how you want to target them. And while there are endless possibilities when it comes to creating segments in Mailchimp, we're going to talk through a couple of quick example segments you can build and what those segment conditions would look like.
For our first example, let's show you how you could segment for an email domain. For example, if you wanted to promote a product to students and faculty, you could segment your audience by subscribers with a certain .edu email address. This could also be done with employees at a particular company using their company.com domain.
So for this example, we'll build a segment of subscribers with Mailchimp.com email addresses. To do this, we're going to set the drop-down menus to email address, ends with, and we'll type Mailchimp.com in the field. This way, we're locating every email contact in our audience that uses the Mailchimp domain, so we can send them company-related news.
Here's another quick and slightly more complex example. Say that you want to attract new customers to your online store. For this, you could create a 2-condition segment of contacts who signed up for your newsletter in the last 30 days, but haven't made a purchase yet. So here you can see we chose the qualifier all because we want our contacts in the segment to meet every single one of the conditions we're setting. We then chose date added is within the past 30 days, and then purchase activity has not purchased. After we build the segment, we can target the segment with a welcome campaign or a special offer.
As a note, you can build and save segments to use with email, postcard, and ad campaigns. If you're working with an email campaign, we'll automatically filter out anyone who isn't subscribed to receive email marketing. Segments can be created in either the campaign builder or the contact table. Save a segment in the contact table if you know you want to target the same contacts time after time. Create as many segments or as few as you want, and add contacts to multiple segments.
Now we're going to dive into a few key benefits of segmentation. When a customer feels like a message was written just for them, they're more likely to be receptive to what you have to say. Segmentation makes that kind of personalization possible. Segmented campaigns also consistently perform better than non-segmented campaigns. After an internal study, we found that segmented campaigns were opened 15% more and clicked 100% more than non-segmented campaigns.
For example, let's say you run a clothing boutique with locations in multiple cities. Segmenting your customers by their location and then sending each group a targeted campaign related to offers and events at their individual location will help you get the best results. Someone in Atlanta isn't likely to be interested in new items at your boutique in Nashville. However, if you send very targeted messages to your Atlanta subscribers about deals at their location, they're much more likely to visit and shop with you, as the content is very targeted and relevant.
Now that we've covered tools to organize your contacts in Mailchimp, let's discuss 2 ways to remove contacts within Mailchimp and their key differences. These 2 ways are archiving and deletion. We know that there can be some confusion around the best way to remove a contact from your audience, depending on how you want to interact with them moving forward. So from here, let's go ahead and clarify.
First, archiving. When you archive a contact, you remove them from the contact table and add them to a separate archived contacts page. As long as the contact remains archived, you won't be able to edit their profile or send them any marketing communications. However, you'll retain all of their data, including how they interacted with past campaigns you've sent them. Archived contacts don't count towards your billing.
You can unarchive a contact at any time, and they'll appear back in your audience with the appropriate email marketing status. A contact can also unarchive themselves if they sign up through your Mailchimp signup form again, or interact with your connected online store. Archiving is helpful if you have lots of duplicate, outdated, or inactive contacts who don't interact with your campaigns anymore. That said, sometimes you may need to delete one or more contacts for GDPR compliance or other audience management purposes.
The main thing to be aware of is when you delete a contact, you permanently remove all of their personal information from your audience, and we anonymize their data in your reports. You won't be able to add them back to your audience, but they can still rejoin an audience through a Mailchimp signup form on their own.
In general, we recommend archiving contacts versus deleting them. As we mentioned, neither deleted or archived contacts count towards your billing. However, deleting them acts as a permanent removal of the contact from your account, while archiving allows you to retain their data in your account and makes it easier for someone to rejoin your audience again in the future.
Awesome job, everyone. Now we're headed into the last part of our tutorial today, where we'll cover the audience dashboard. As we mentioned at the start of our tutorial, your Mailchimp audience is more than just a list of email addresses. The data you collect on your audience really helps to define how you can market and speak to your fans. Constantly learning and understanding your audience, including their preferences, engagement, and behaviors, is crucial to sending out better campaigns.
So once we're back in our account, if we click to Audience in our top navigation menu, we can see our audience dashboard right here. From here, let's pick our retail customers audience from this dropdown here at the far left, as it has most of our contacts in it, and it will allow us to see a good overview of our data. Your Mailchimp audience includes a dashboard that highlights valuable details about your contacts. But it isn't just about gaining insight. All of the information on the audience dashboard is clickable, so you can instantly launch campaigns for specific sets of contacts.
Let's go ahead and break down each of these sections. The recent growth section gives you an at-a-glance overview of your audience growth over the last 30 days. It also shows you which of your contact collection methods have helped you grow your audience the most. You'll see how many total new contacts you've added to your audience, as well as a breakdown of the number into subscribed and non-subscribed contacts.
We'll also show you where your contacts came from. For example, let's say that you use a few tools to collect contacts: a Facebook sign-up form, a Mailchimp hosted sign-up form, and a Mailchimp landing page. This section here will show you which percentage of your new contacts came from each of those sources.
The tags section shows a list of the 5 most commonly used tags in the audience, along with the number of contacts that have each of those tags. This highlights how you've organized your audience so you can quickly identify trends based on those custom categories.
Scrolling down here towards the bottom, you'll see the email marketing engagement section down here. which will show you 3 segments of your audience based on how they interact with your email campaigns. Subscribed contacts who often, sometimes, or rarely interact. To stay up to date, we recalculate engagement levels as you send email campaigns.
In the top location setting, we'll rank the cities where we detect the most activity from your subscribed contacts. To do this, we use geolocation data to estimate a contact's physical location based on IP address. We collect this information when people subscribe to your emails from your Mailchimp hosted sign-up form or landing page, or when they open up your email campaigns. Don't forget, you can click on almost any piece of information on the audience dashboard to instantly take action on it and create a campaign. By selecting Target with Campaign, we're able to quickly get started on creating an email, ad, or postcard campaign for the specific segment of people. For example, here we just selected our pop-up shop visitor tag. So whichever campaign type we choose, we'll already have this segment of our customers populated in our new draft campaign.
Just a note, all the data that you see on the audience dashboard is also available in our regular segmentation tool. So you can also create your own, even more complex segments that include the information surfaced here. And finally, let's talk about stats. If you click View Contacts from this page by scrolling up here, we'll then select the Stats drop-down menu. Once it loads, right over here. And then we'll choose Overview. And this will show you the general audience performance numbers. Each time that you send an email campaign, Mailchimp stores its performance statistics. The Stats Overview page here for your audience contains a general summary of audience health, activity, and performance so that you can view email engagement over time. The Overview page displays a variety of information, such as audience growth, campaign performance, as well as top email clients we detect your contacts are using.
Your contact data really is one of the most important tools you have as a marketer. Spotting patterns in your data, keeping tabs on trends, and always knowing who you're talking to, especially as your audience evolves, will all help you to grow your business. So we finished running through the basics of building your audience. Way to go. Here's a look back at everything we covered one last time.
We started with those key concepts to know before we walked through creating an audience from scratch in Mailchimp, and then we imported contacts to that audience. We then broke down the organizational tools Mailchimp offers to help you organize your contacts, and those were groups, tags, and segments.
Finally, we wrapped up our session by covering the key differences between archiving and deleting contacts in Mailchimp and discussing the setup of your audience dashboard.
Awesome. Once again, thank you all so much for following along. And from here in Atlanta, Nicole and I just want to say thank you so much for joining us today.